Hey guys, Purple people, friends and family. I wanted to come at you with a little video from home. Usually I'd be coming at you with a travel video, but since we're on lockdown here in Toronto, it's March 22nd, I believe, today. Sunday, beautiful day outside, but most of us are stuck indoors. So I wanted to share something that I really love, which is vinyl records, and specifically my Prince 12-inch vinyl record collection. So without further ado, I'd like to jump right in, and we're gonna start chronologically from 1977 with Prince's first demo album, actually, which they re-released on vinyl, Minneapolis Genius, 94 East, with Andre Simone and Pepe Willie. And this was an original demo that Prince put out to get his Warner Brothers contract, and he made it seem like he played all the instruments on the record, but in reality he had his little group of high school friends that helped him make and produce it, and he got the record contract, and that's what this LP is all about, and they call it the Historic 1977 Recordings. Next is the very first Prince LP, and that's Prince For You from 1978. And Prince actually did record all of the instruments and wrote all the songs on this record. And I think he was very inspired by Stevie Wonder, who was doing the same thing in the 70s at the time. And this is a great original pressing, and you can see the Warner Brother Burbank labels. So those are really cool labels. If you find some old 70s records, they'll all have that, and it's still in the factory shrink. Got a few more copies of the same. This one is sealed from 2016, and this is another original with a little deletion cut here. Next, we've got Prince Dirty... No, that's out of order. Next, we've got Prince Self-Titled. This one's sealed. It's got the hype sticker, I Want to Be Your Lover. And this one's from 1978. It's an original pressing, US pressing. It's got some of my favorite Prince tracks. I Want to Be Your Lover, Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad, Sexy Dancer, Bambi, I Feel For You. Doesn't get much better than this. Classic Prince. Oh, and you know, before I put that one away, check out the color difference between the 2016 repress and the original. They obviously didn't have the same artwork, because the original, to me, looks much, much cleaner. All right, moving along, we have this really neat DJ 12-inch, 45 RPM, I Want to Be Your Lover, with Just As Long As We're Together on the B-side. And that's a DJ single from the UK only, I believe. And it's got, this is an extended version, 12-inch special limited edition. So I like the extended versions, just because, you know, it gives you a little bit more of your favorite songs. Who wants an edit version? Come on. All right, moving right along, we're looking at Prince, Dirty Mind, another great album. Certainly some of your guys' favorite album, I'm sure. This one has the hype sticker, Uptown, one of his biggest hits, and Programmers, Please Audition Before Airing. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's got the gold stamp promotional copy, Not For Sale. So this was sent out to DJs and radio stations before the record was released in store, and they stamped them so that you can't confuse them with store purchased copies. So these were never for sale, but this is probably the actual record that they would have played on the radio. And here you've got the track listing on the back, and story goes that Prince actually spray painted all those track names on the wall of, I believe it was Lisa's Bedroom, the keyboard player at the time. And then we've got another 2016 repress. And those aren't worth too much. They're not even great quality sound. I don't know why I even buy those 2016 represses, but sometimes they're good to throw on the record player if you don't want to put down your like very expensive original copy. But anyway, on with Dirty Mind, I have this really cool 12-inch single of the track from 1980 with a letter directly from Warner Brothers reading, "Enclosed, please find 3 promos from Warner Brothers that your turntable has been waiting for. Here's Prince with his new 12-inch Dirty Mind. You already have his other 12-inch, and this cut should gain immediate response from your dance floor. Great intro, mid-tempo groove from Prince that will be a top 5 contender." And they've also listed some other tracks that they've sent out by Donna Summers, Rod Stewart, B-52s, Devo, Whip It. So that's from 1980. And it's Dirty Mind, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. So that's a cool little promo. All right, and I don't have any single. That was the only single from Dirty Minds. So now we're on to Controversy. And Controversy is a great album. Some really cool tracks on this one. Another promo with the gold stamp, which, I mean, some collectors just go for the gold stamps. That's a collecting genre on its own. This one was loaned for promotional use only by Warner Brothers. And what other songs do I love on this album? International Lover, obviously Controversy, Let's Work, that's a great track. All around really cool dance vibe on that one. Some other variations, a Japanese version. And what you're looking for on the Japanese copies are the Obi graphic, the Obi strip, which is, it should be in great condition. And then on these ones, if they're a promo, it'll say sample in a white little sticker like that. So the Japanese pressings are really great collectible items. They often come with a lyric sheet. This one's in Japanese, so I have no idea what it says. But, you know, they just add those extras. And of course, Japanese pressings have such much higher quality that they last longer and they sound so much better. The fidelity is fantastic. So that's Japanese. And I've got a couple more. Controversy. This one is with the original hype sticker. And this one has somebody faked a Prince signature there. You can see, I know it's fake, but this is a Canadian pressing and it's a great album. So of course I want a duplicate copy. Moving on to some singles from Controversy. Or actually I only have one. Here's Let's Work. And what do we have on the B side? I think it's Gotta Stop Messing About. Yes. So that is from 1981. Let's Work. All right. Now we've got probably one of Prince's greatest albums, 1999, one of his most well-known. This one is an original promo, again with the gold stamp. It's got an original hype sticker, and I've got 2 of these. This is another US, this is the stock 1999, and they're both double LPs, but you'll notice the hype sticker is different. So I think this hype sticker was used for stock LPs, and this one's still sealed. And this one was never sealed, so I think they used different stickers for the promo. But just a fantastic album with some of his biggest hits, like 1999, Little Red Corvette, Delirious, Let's Pretend We're Married, Dance Music, Sex, Romance, Automatic, Lady Cab Driver, you know, some of his greatest songs. So that's 1999. And we've got this record store day version of the album that's only a single LP. They cut a few of the tracks. And they re-released, this was an original, oh, obviously I bought it at Sonic Boom in Toronto. Shout out to Sonic Boom. But yeah, it was originally released in 83. Well, I thought it was 82, but they did this single version. So it's got different artwork and it's kind of cool to have in the collection. And yes, more, this is the 2016 repress, but 1999 has been getting a lot of attention recently because of the new deluxe edition, which is a massive collection of 10 LPs, and it's got some unreleased tracks from the era, some all of the different edits and remixes. I'm not going to go through everything on this because I'm sure there's a bunch of videos online that really go through it already, but it's a really fantastic set if you're a hardcore fan, and it's certainly exhaustive in terms of his very creative 1982 to 1983 period when he was working on 1999. So that's that. Now on to the singles for 1999. We've got the new Black Funk edition, and I've got two of those. One's kind of beaten up, but I like it because the vinyl sounds fantastic. And yeah, the labels are the same. This is the UK version with How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore on the B-side, which is a fantastic track. And yeah, they use the same artwork that I showed you before for the cover. Then I've got two Let's Pretend We're Married. One of them sealed, so it's kind of a cool track. Moving along, Little Red Corvette. This is a special edition UK 12-inch single with 3 tracks. There's Little Red Corvette, Automatic, and International Lover on here. And it's got a really cool poster. I've got the original poster in here, which I'm not going to pull out, but you can look it up online if you're interested. That's a hard one to find. All right, moving along to maybe one of Prince's most iconic and loved albums. One of my favorites, of course, Purple Rain. And I love pretty much every song on this album. It's a classic from 1984. This one is sealed with the hype sticker. And what can I say about it? Probably now it's going for about $100 Canadian in this condition, sealed. But I've got a bunch of different copies here. Here's another one, US copy that I have for playing. It's just a regular copy. This is a purple vinyl Japanese with the obi again. And this is the new sort of deluxe edition with some remastered tracks, some new tracks that we've never heard that they pulled out of the vault from that era. And yeah, Purple Rain. If that's not part of your Prince collection, I don't know. You know, that's probably his most iconic album. So you gotta have it. What else do we have here? The Purple Rain singles, Let's Go Crazy, specially priced, 2-cut maxi single with Erotic City on the B-side. Love that track, Erotic City, as well. Here's the Purple Rain iconic 12-inch 45 record, Purple Rain on the A-side. It's an 8-minute 45-second song. Wow. And the track God on B-side, which is 3 minutes 59 seconds. And this one is sealed with the original hype sticker. Amazing. That one also probably I would value at about $100 Canadian. Up next, iconic again, When Doves Cry. It's almost like every song on the Purple Rain album got its own single release. It's crazy. I always hated the artwork on this one though, for some reason. B-side is 17 Days, amazing track, one of my favorite Prince tracks. The long version of, the long name of that song is 17 Days, the rain will come down, then you will have to choose. If you believe, look to the dawn, and you shall never lose. There you go. When Doves Cry. Here's another Let's Go Crazy with Take Me With You on the B-side. That's a UK pressing, I believe. I got it in London. When Doves Cry. This was an interesting one. It's got that cool purple texture to it. And it's got the long version on side A and the short version or edit version on side B. And that's a promo, DJ promo. This one Mira got me for Christmas. It's a really cool 12-inch single, Another Lonely Christmas with, actually I think it's I Would Die For You with Another Lonely Christmas on the B side. So thank you, Mira, for that. And here's another copy. You can see this very unique label that the record has. And again, you'll notice I keep all my records separate from the covers. Just to show you, I have these cool archival sleeves that I use. And that's just so that I keep everything nice and mint and it doesn't have shelf wear. And, you know, I like to keep everything in collector condition. All right, before we leave Purple Rain, this is probably my most rare, most expensive record in the collection. This is Strange Tales from the Rain, and it's a double LP. As you can see, it's got that really cool label with Prince's lips and mustache, maybe kind of creepy, and then the belly button there. I don't know. I thought there was one from 1999 with the eyeball, which everybody knows, the Prince eyeball. But this is basically a collection of all the songs from Purple Rain because some of the music never made it onto the album. So this is like a Japanese collection of all the songs on 2 LPs, and it's really limited to 500 pressings in the entire world. So I feel very lucky to have one. I think Mira actually bought me this copy as well. Okay, so after Purple Rain, Prince, I mean, where do you go from #1, from the top, you know? But he went in a totally different direction and gave us Around the World in a Day. Another fantastic album, but people didn't really understand what was going on with it because it was released and on the shelves at the exact same time as Purple Rain was still in record stores. So this came out in 1985, and really Prince would put out 1 album a year, you know? So I love this album. It's got some great tracks from Pop Life to Raspberry Beret, America, you know, Tambourine is kind of a weird one, but Paisley Park, you know, also kind of strange track, but I love them. They're still fun. This one's a promo with the gold stamp there, and it's still sealed, so that's quite a rare record. And then we've got the 2016 repress again. And this is just a sort of near mint, you know, playing copy that I have around. Those are all, I think that was a Canadian pressing. This is, yeah, this is America. And they zoomed in on all the artwork from the Around the World in a Day cover to do all the singles. So you'll see that's the America cover. This is Pop Life, you know. I've got a few of these Pop Lifes with the Record Store Day exclusive with the remix by Sheila E., fresh dance mix, and look at that, I got 3 copies of Pop Life. I must really like that song. And then this is sort of like the sister copy of, or the sister album to Strange Tales from the Rain. But this is another Record Store Day release. It's not the original. The original, there's probably only 500 again in the world, is maybe worth like, I would say $800 at this point to get the original of this one. But it's got some really cool tracks on here, some remixes of songs that we love, like, not Purple Rain, Raspberry Beret, Paisley Park, all those songs from around the world in a day. So yeah, again, I don't have everything that Prince put out there. You know, my collection, I like to think it's fairly complete, but I know there's a bunch of holes in it, and I'm fine with that. I think if you're gonna be a Prince collector, you have to understand that you're never gonna have it all. Never, okay? There's just too many records, there's too many singles, too many variations, and you know, either collect what you like in a certain genre, or you know, just be happy having the music that you have. And it's not all about collecting, it's about putting the music on and getting the records on the turntable. So you know, moving along, we've got a copy of Prince's Parade, and this was the soundtrack for Under the Cherry Moon, which is a movie he produced. Not my favorite movie, but this is definitely one of my favorite albums by Prince. It's got some fantastic songs you know and love, like Kiss or Mountains, you know, and I think it's fantastic. This one's sealed with the hype stickers, so that's more of a collector's item, but of course I have my playable copy. And what else? Boys and Girls is on this one. I Wonder You, which is kind of a strange track. You know, but some really funky songs and some kind of different songs for Prince. You know, the Revolution sort of helped take him into a few different areas and explore some different sides of music, his musical self. This is a cool one. It's a UK only release, and it's Boys and Girls, Under the Cherry Moon, and Erotic City, all on one 12-inch record. So that's a very unique one. And I think it comes with a poster as well. Oh, how did this got, oh yeah, no, this is Kiss. So this is the single Kiss, and then on the B-side, you've got Love or Money, the extended version, which is also a very funky song. I think Sheila E. is on that song. Okay, moving on to another amazing album. I mean, Prince just had these hit albums all through the 80s, and these are all 80s albums, these recent ones. So this is Sign of the Times. I think some people put this even above Purple Rain in terms of Prince's masterpiece. I think there's definitely some masterpiece songs on here, like Adore, you know, certainly the title track, Sign of the Times. You know, I like the song, personally, I like the song It. I like the song Starfish and Coffee. You know, there's some really funky stuff on this too. A double LP, that's an original US pressing. And what this is a repress, which I use for playing mostly, so that I don't wear out my other copies. And I love that hype sticker too, that heart hype sticker. Moving on to singles from Sign of the Time, we've got If I Was Your Girlfriend with Shockadelica on the B-side. Prince, I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man. This is a UK single. How do I have so many UK singles? Must be all my UK friends, or maybe Mira, I don't know. All my online friends. Shout out to Phil Sims, shout out to Richard Bratt, you know, and actually everyone at the Paisley 5 and Dime, Eric Rogers, what's up? So this one, so we got Hot Thing on the B-side. Moving on. You Got the Look. You Got the Look with Housequake on the B-side. Really funky track. Here's Sign of the Times, the single, with La 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 He 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 on the B-side. Love that track as well. And Actually, I've got a few copies of that. That's how much I love that song. And that's a song about a dog and a cat, I believe. La 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 hee hee hee. And you know, if you like this video, let me know, because I can do, I'd love to do a video on my 7-inch Prince records. I'd love to share my Prince cassette collection or my Prince CD collection. So please comment below, let me know what you think. If there's anything in particular Prince related that you'd like to see, I probably have it. So for instance, like this very rare 1994 record, the Black Album, and this was a promo. So this is after the original Black Album was pressed in 1987, and then Prince ordered them all to be destroyed. Of course, a few record employees kept a couple of them, and so now there's probably like, I don't know, like 14 of them in the world. This is, so then later in 1994, Warner Brothers decided to release the Black Album, and they put out a promo before the actual release, and this is it. And it's got this cool little letter, photocopied letter. If you're in the market and buying one of these, make sure it comes with the letter. It's just a photocopy, but it's kind of cool. I'll just read, Canadian Prince collector sent shockwaves through the collecting community in late April by paying $13,500 for an extremely rare copy of Prince's never issued Black Album. And so that's, yeah, that's from this is from 1991, but I think the record companies included that with the release. So that's a cool one. And then I've got a bootleg, of course, of the Black Album on, I think this is on clear vinyl. Right, moving on to Lovesexy. Yeah, Lovesexy, another one of my favorite albums. Really cool songs on this and provocative cover art. I've got a few copies here, you know, with the sticker, without the sticker. I think Walmart at one point, they covered up, they had like a little cover that would cover most of Prince because it was so provocative at the time. But some really cool tracks on there. Let's go through the singles. I can't believe we're getting through the 80s here. Alphabet Street. I know Mira bought me this one. Oh, look, Waxwell Records. Okay, shout out to Waxwell. Sounds like Maxwell. Yeah, we got Alphabet Street album version and Alphabet Street. This looks like the extended version. Oh, I'm being told, hang on, what's that? Yes, I'm being told this was actually purchased in Amsterdam, not in London, at Waxwell Records in Amsterdam. Thank you, Waxwell. And I Wish You Heaven, which is a fantastic song also from the album Lovesexy. What else do I have here? We'll do Glam Slam. And he did all these singles, except for I Wish You Heaven. He did these singles in these clear covers, which I always hated, you know, for some reason. And they always ripped because the vinyl would cut right through them. So that's another reason why I keep them kind of separated. Glam Slam, really cool. And Escape on the B-side. And what do I have here? Oh, Escape, Free Your Mind from this rat race. All right, well, it sounds a lot like right now, you know, we gotta free our minds from this whole rat race and hunker down, stay at home. You know, COVID-19 is here and we gotta squash that curve, as they say. That's the line these days, right? So anyway, free your mind from this rat race. All right, Batman. Na 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 na. This was the album that, so he did the soundtrack. Prince did the soundtrack for the movie, the Tim Burton movie in 1989, and then it was Elfman who did the other soundtrack, the big orchestral soundtrack. And this was a really, really funky album. He was dating Kim Basinger, who starred in the movie at the time as well, which is really cool. It's got the hype sticker, the original Shrink, yeah, like Electric Chair, Party Man. I mean, come on, Party Man was so cool. Trust, Scandalous, Bat Dance, very cool album. And I thought I had a few copies of that one. Oh yes, I do. Here's another one. That's a US pressing. And then I've got Party Man promo. I love Party Man. That's there's a long version on that as well. Here's a Scandalous promo. You can see a DJ has written on the label. I hate when DJs do that. They wrote slow on the label, like you don't know it's a slow song. And then the Scandalous edit version. And here's what the cover artwork would look like. So, I don't know, that's a promo just in a generic sleeve, and there's a promo in the regular promo gold stamp sleeve. And last one for the 80s, before we move on to Prince 90s records. Yeah, we're not done yet. Here's Bat Dance. Very cool track with 200 balloons on there. Let's see what else. Yeah, and Bat Dance, the Bat Mix at 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Wow, that's gotta be a funky mix for sure. All right, guys, let's move along to 90s. Prince's Graffiti Bridge was the first album of the 90s for the artist. He released it with a movie of the same name, and it was supposed to be the sequel to Purple Rain, but of course it was a flop. Still some great music on this album. I've got 2 copies, obviously. I think this was released in the UK only, although, this is the US copy, this is the UK. Looks very similar, just the fine print. Otherwise, no difference. And some singles, 12-inch singles, Thieves in the Temple. And this was a great Thieves in the Temple, and it's got all the different mixes, dub mix, etc. New Power Generation Part 2. And again, a couple copies here. One from Flashback Records. I think that's in Shoreditch. And here's another Funky Weapon remix of the same in a generic sleeve. All right, one of Prince's best-selling albums of all time. The one that started the New Power Generation as well, Diamonds and Pearls. And so he hadn't really had an album with a band since he broke up with the Revolution. So finally he had a new band, and this is 1991. So, and he really started getting into rap at this point too. He brought in Tony M. You got tracks like Get Off, of course the title, Diamonds and Pearls, Daddy Pop, not my favorite, Willing and Able, also not my favorite, Money Don't Matter Tonight is pretty cool. I like Push, Thunder, kind of a cool track. And this was a UK only vinyl release, Diamonds and Pearls, so I'm very happy to have 2 albums. Hard to find now. Here's hoping that maybe Paisley Park will re-release that one sometime soon. We got some singles here. Cream. Obviously, you guys gotta know that song. Cream album version, Cream MPG mix, Things Have Gotta Change, Tony M rap, To the Wire. These are all remixes, and Do Your Dance, So that's Cream, and I've got a couple copies of that, including this DJ copy where, they're writing notes and stuff, as DJs do. Here's another cool one, Get Off. And this has all of the different versions, including Gangsta Glam, Violet the Organ Grinder, etc. And I think this is fairly relatively easy to find now. Really cool track. But what's not easy to find is this. The same, looks the same, but this is what's called the birthday single, Get Off, because Prince actually released this for his 31st birthday, I believe. And it was limited also, I think, to like 1,500. So this is a really tough copy to find. I would value it at probably $360 to $400. And Prince actually did this artwork himself. This is his handiwork. So, oh, one other cool thing for all you vinyl heads out there. One thing that makes this record unique, other than it's one single song that's like, or damn near 10 minutes, he calls it, right? So it's one 10-minute track. The back is blank. It's just a blank vinyl. So that's pretty neat. Very, very unique piece in my collection, and I'm happy I got that. Money Don't Matter Tonight, the edit and the album version. Why? I guess they need the edit version for radio and those kinds of things back in the day. All right, moving on to the Symbol album. This is when Prince changed his name to the Love Symbol, that we call it. A lot of people call this the Love Symbol album. I think it's a fantastic album. It's got some of my favorite tracks on it. You know, 3 Chains of Gold, The Max, Love to the Nines, Sexy MF, you know, what else? The Sacrifice of Victor, I Want to Melt With You, Morning Papers, Sweet Baby. I mean, this is a fantastic album. It's got the hype sticker. It's just in like, I would call this like a near mint copy. Really hard to find these days, guys. If you do find that in record stores, pick it up. And here's a single. Yeah, this is from the same album, Damn You. Damn You, no. Yeah, I guess that's on the Symbol album. Yeah. See, with all these songs, sometimes even I get mixed up, you know? But really cool single. Again, very hard to find that one. Moving on to sort of the era of 1993, his dispute with Warner Brothers. This is the Come album, and you know, very limited release in the 90s of vinyls, because of course the CD was taking off at that point, and who wanted or played vinyls? Nobody. And then, you know, we've got the new parental advisory warning labels here. So that's a great addition to any Prince vinyl collection. There's also a promo version of that. That's the stock album. I don't have the promo, but I do have this Space single, and this is the stock single. Again, there is a promo. There's a promo with a generic sleeve, but this is a promo with a gold stamp. So I didn't even realize that, but there you go. So again, these are the copies that Warner's would release to DJs and radio stations. And you know, during that era too, Prince had his Paisley Park record label, and so the 1-800 New Funk record was supposed to be sort of a promotional tool for the Paisley Park record album. So he featured all sorts of artists, including Margie Cox, Mavis Staples, Madhouse, which was like their jazz group. Maite even had a track on here. So all sorts of artists from the Paisley Park label. It's a cool one. That one's still sealed, actually. So, you know, some of them I keep sealed because they have the music in other forms, like on CD or like You know, I have multiple copies of the album, and if you have a really old vinyl that's still sealed, it's probably best to just keep it sealed because you don't know what's inside. If you open it up, it might be warped, it might be broken, you know, and then it's worth nothing. So keep it sealed. All right, on to the next, one of my favorite, absolute favorite Prince records, and that's The Gold Experience. And this is, again, one of my very rarest Prince records. This is the stock version. The promo comes in a cardboard sleeve. I don't have a promo. It was pressed on gold. But I do love this stock one because I feel like nobody was buying vinyl in the 90s. And this is almost just as rare, if not more rare, than the promo itself. So The Gold Experience, which just last year, 2019, Paisley Park, or I should say the Prince Estate, released the Versace Experience. And I think they would have released the Gold Experience, except that they can't because they have some copyright issues with the Most Beautiful Girl in the World song. So they decided to do this variation omitting that song. And so I've got that, but honestly, that's terrible quality. I don't like listening to it. It sounds like it was almost taken off of a cassette tape or something, the masters. So here's I Hate You, single from the Gold Experience album. And it's a really cool song. There's all sorts of versions on this one. Carmen Electra has a cool story about that song. If you want to Google it, you can. And here's the Most Beautiful Girl in the World, still sealed, Beautiful Experience. He calls it the Beautiful Experience album. Of course, it's the Most Beautiful Girl in the World. Flute instrumental, Mustang mix, Stacks of Wax mix. These are all the same song, just different remixes. All right. And then another Most Beautiful Girl in the World with a generic sleeve. Oh, and I didn't even know, sorry, skipping back, I Hate You in a generic sleeve, just a duplicate copy again. This is a recent re-release, Chaos and Disorder. Not my favorite album, but there's a couple tracks on here that I really like. I would recommend I Rock, Therefore I Am, Dinner with Dolores, and Right the Wrong, and Dig You, Better Dead. So, and that's on purple vinyl. Okay, moving on to another one of my favorite and most rare records, MPG Exodus. And of course, like this one, you can see like that's supposed to be Prince there, but this is not like a Prince album. He just didn't put his name on it. He gave it to the MPG as their own album. But we all know who the main member in the MPG is. It's Prince. And I think this was also, he put this out for reasons to get around his contractual obligations at the time. And they really squished all the songs onto this LP. Because, you know, the quality is not fantastic, but it's like jam-packed. You should see, like, the grooves are very, very tight on this record. Some great tracks, like Get Wild, and this is the 12-inch DJ single, Get Wild with Hallucination Rain and Beautiful Girl on the B-side. Really cool, kind of ugly artwork on the cover, too bad. And The Good Life, I love this song too. You know, with all sorts of mixes, Big City remix. And we recently saw them in New York, actually, I think it was January of 2019. And they were just fantastic, phenomenal band still, even without Prince. So here's the original Rave Into the Joy Fantastic from 1999. Just a great album. I don't think he got enough credit for at the time. And there's some fantastic songs like Rave Into the Joy, The Greatest Romance Ever Sold. That's one of my favorite songs by him. Hot With You, Tangerine, Baby Knows, you know, Strange But True. Actually, that's a weird one. Sorry, that's not, it's just a really well-rounded album. I highly recommend it. And this is a rare one. It's got the promo stamp. And again, if you're finding vinyl from the 90s, grab it, because there's probably not that much out there of those titles. The 90s was not a very big year for records, and therefore the titles that were released are hard to find. Just last year, the Prince estate released Rave Into the Joy Fantastic again. This time they released it with Rave Into the Joy Fantastic. So in 1999, Prince recorded this album, released it, and then the critics didn't love it, so he re-released it with remixes, and it was a very limited re-release. It was literally like a month after, confused everybody. People are still confused by this whole rave into, rave unto. But they're basically the same albums. One is a remix album, and of course I've got the Japanese versions here. And this was his last album of the 90s. So after this, and I've got, what do I got here? Oh, this is the back to MPG, More of the Good Life. But no, I've got the Greatest Romance Ever Sold, single 12-inch, which is just a really cool song. But that's it for the 90s on Prince. Let's jump into 2000s. It was a very productive decade for Prince. We'll start with Musicology. And again, he had other releases between 1999 and 2004, which is when this came out. But 2004. But basically, vinyl still was just catching on, so they were basically made for DJs and radio stations and things like that. This is Urban Division promo of Musicology with Cinnamon Girl on the B-side. Then, of course, the estate has recently re-released Musicology, the full album, on purple vinyl. Very cool. This one sounds fantastic. And I've also got the Japanese version with the OBI, and they did a fantastic job on the Japanese versions. Just really beautiful reproduction and artwork. And then, of course, the following year it was 3121, and that was a really great album with songs like Black Sweat, Ti Amo Corazon, and Fury. And that was the re-release because it was only originally released on CD. Actually, I do think there was a promo. There's some dispute amongst collectors if it's like original or not, but the 3121 promo, I believe, is original. So if you find one in the generic cover with the little album sticker on the top left corner, buy it. Here's 3121 Japanese version. And we've got the singles, or actually I should say I just have one single, which is Black Sweat. That's on black vinyl, and then a very, very rare Black Sweat on a crimson vinyl. And the crimson, I've heard that there's really only 500 of these out there. But I think they call it a Dutch promo, like it was given out to Dutch radio stations, perhaps, or DJs. But that's a really cool addition to my collection. So here's Planet Earth, and it's got that cool, what they call it, lenticular cover, so it moves. You see that? Cool. That's the regular US copy on purple vinyl. And we've got the Japanese version on purple vinyl. And that was not my favorite album. Lotus Flower, which is basically like 3 albums in one. You've got Lotus Flower, side A and B, Minneapolis Sound, and then actually the 3rd album was on the CD only. And that was Bria Valente, and Prince always has his proteges. That was his protege of that year. And then I found this cool sort of, it's the Minneapolis Sound album on its own, which I really love this one in particular, from Lotus Flower. And it's got songs like Valentina on there, which is really cool and funky. And it's apparently an homage to the whole Minneapolis sound that he developed and all the artists that came out of the 80s and 90s that he was working with, like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Sheila E. amongst others. So Artificial Age, this was an album that he released, and it's got some actually Toronto connection. These are he's wearing a coat from Call and Response, and these guys are just around the corner from us, and they make fantastic custom clothing. So shout out to Call and Response. That's a double LP. And at the same time, I think Warner Brothers wanted to release that one, but he was working with the Third Eye Girl on an album called PLECTRUMELECTRUM. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't like this album, especially including Warner Brothers, because they didn't want to release it. But Prince said, "I'm not going to give you Artificial Age unless you released both of the albums." So they agreed. And that was the story for Plectrum. And again, I don't have too many vinyls from Prince in the 2000s or the 2010s because, and remember, he died in 2016, because they weren't putting out that many vinyls. I do have a couple picture discs from that era, so if you want, comment below, let me know. I'll do a video on picture discs. I've got a lot of them. But I've got this cool one, Rock and Roll Love Affair and this was from 2015, I believe. So this was like his last 12-inch single, and I feel pretty lucky to have that one. But after his death, you know, a whole bunch of stuff came out, and as collectors, like, we're still waiting for a lot of new stuff to be released from the vault. You know, people, when he passed away, were watching that video of his guitar solo on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think that was in like 2006 or 7. I've got it here on purple vinyl. So I mean, that was a cool performance that went viral on YouTube. And of course, the estate is sort of combing through the vault and finding you know, rehearsal performances and different stuff that they want to release, like this piano and a microphone from 1983, and it's got some very intimate Prince, just vocal and piano stuff, which is really cool to hear. And then they're putting out like the originals, which I have on white vinyl. That was an online exclusive at the Prince.com. And this has songs that he wrote for other artists. So he used to record the songs onto cassette tapes, send them to the artist, and then basically they would use the same instrumentation. They would just record their own voice on top. So I mean, he was so prolific that that's the way he worked. I've got some other re-releases. We talked about originals just now, and they did have a deluxe edition here with a CD and a huge booklet and everything, and the LP is in there as well. And the 1983 piano and a microphone also came in that deluxe sort of packaging. And then they put out this really cool Forever box set in 2016, right after he died, which was basically a greatest hits, and then it included the one-track Moonbeam Levels was the new song nobody really had, or the hardcore fans had it as a really crappy bootleg version, but finally we had it in a nice crisp recording. And then I didn't, during the 90s, I didn't mention this Emancipation. This is the Japanese version. Here's the sort of North American release. But mainly because in the 90s, this wasn't released on vinyl at all. This would have been ridiculous to have, 8 vinyl records in a set like this. It was released as a 3-disc CD release. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. We ran through quite a few 12-inch records. Let me know if you want to see any other videos about my Prince collection. I'd be happy to share it with you guys. So for now, may you live to see the dawn, and we'll see you soon.